how I got into M&A was I helped. I had a buddy that was in M&A, and I referred someone to him years ago. And then I was working on some really big international M&A deals. And then this thing called COVID, I don't know if you heard about it, it happened. It shut down all of that. And so that ended all of that kind of work. And then when I got back into kind of doing M&A, I talked to probably 350 owners, 370. I don't know how to count, but it's over 350. And about selling their business. I was doing a lot of work for some with buyers, but some with sell side brokers and stuff like that. And the stories were pretty much the same, just different buckets, right? But you know, a lot of it was the same. They overvalued their business, um, owner dependency, customer concentration, you know, all the stuff that you probably see over and over again on deals. And it kind of dawned on me that right now there's a lot of education for the buyers, and I think I have some reasons on why that might be. But a lot of education is for the buyers, and it's like, well, the owners are leaving hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on the table by not simply just doing some things a little bit early on that would just make it easier for them. And one of the things is, since most deals are in the SBA size range anyways, one of the things is just talk to the bank. And that's one thing I learned was talking to owners. If they said, well, you know, I think my company's worth $3 million, and the bank says, yeah, it's worth 3.1 or 2.9 or whatever we can lend on it, the owner goes, okay, cool. They understand that banks will give money. But if you say, I want to give you $4 million, or if they say, I want to give you whatever it is, if it's kind of speculation, they don't trust that. But when they go to the bank and the bank says, oh yeah, you know, $3 million, whatever it is, they might not like that, but they kind of know that's the world that they've lived in their whole career, that banks will lend money. And so to me, it's like, well, why not just talk to the bank sooner to find out what they will do, and then ask the question, can you improve that, and how long does that take? Because certain levers you pull can take longer to fix, certain are some kind of faster, but like customer concentration might take 18 to 36 months to smooth that out. Whereas, you know, owner dependency might get fixed in 6 to 12 months. So anyway, so I'll quit rambling, but that's kind of what I saw. And then having these conversations, like, okay, well, is me the banks, I hope, talk to owners, because I think that's really, for a lot of them, oh, step one, but 1A maybe.
Well, the interesting part is, and I fully agree with what you're saying. You don't see it as much as you'd think,
Yeah.
but every owner has a bank.
Yeah.
So, that banker, even if they're not a hugely active SBA lender, they probably have someone in the bank that is their M&A sort of
Yeah.
finance person. And I mean, at a minimum, you could just, talk to your banker. I mean, wouldn't I,
Yeah.
I would think that that would be that used to be like a standard approach. You'd actually go down to
Mm-hmm.
the bank and
Mm-hmm.
have these conversations. Hey, look, I'm
Mm-hmm.
been here banking for 20 years. I'm thinking about selling. What do you think?
Right.
And you'd
What do
have
you
that
think?
consultative approach. And our industry, banking has gotten super commoditized. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that those relationships are there as much today.
Yeah. And I think that some owners I've talked to, they've gone to their bank and they've had that conversation, and then the bank's not really well versed in SBA stuff, and so they might get told bad advice, like, "Oh, your business isn't
Sure.
SBA eligible," or they might be SBA eligible, but the bank doesn't tell them that our bank doesn't really do M&A deals like this. It has nothing to do with the SBA. It's that our bank, and so there's some confusion on what happens. It seems with the owners and with buyers too. They'll call an SBA lender and say, "I want to buy a company," and call a bank rather. And the bank says, no, you don't qualify, or the SBA doesn't qualify. It's not SBA related at all. It's just that bank has a buy box. And
100%.
so,
Well,
yeah.
and SBA specifically, you're right. And by the way, one out of every 10 deals I hear from the business broker or the buyer that the seller just does not want to have anything to do with SBA. The buyer,
Mm,
we don't want to have an SBA buyer, blah, blah, blah. It's like, where is that coming from, right?
right.
It's chances are they at some point in their business,
Mm-hmm.
career sat down with their banker and were told some really bad things about SBA,
Mm-hmm.
mostly because that banker didn't have a
Yeah.
good solid SBA program and was trying to sort of diminish it and focus here on their conventional products, which are easier for them to do and administer. So, there's a lot of that, but you can get a business broker that doesn't know what they're talking about. You can get a really great business broker. You can get an SBA. You can get a banker that doesn't know what they're talking about. You can get a really great SBA person. I think the biggest thing I always give for advice when they're vetting anyone, specifically for SBA lenders, is to actually ask them some really pointed questions about their experience, their track record, their knowledge, and vet them and interview them, because there's the top 1% of SBA lenders make 40% of the loans. That's 14 lenders making 40% of the loans. It's crazy.